Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Isaac Mack. Welcome to the MCC. Joining me today is a very special guest, Father Maher Gurges. Father Maher is a Chaldean Catholic priest, originally ordained in Baghdad, but spent a lot of time in Melbourne doing some amazing things with the youth down there. He is now based in Sydney, leading our St. Joseph's Church there, and we're very excited to have him on. So, Father Maher, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me today with you guys.
It's a pleasure. So tell me, you spent the majority of your life since you've been in Australia in Melbourne. How long were you in Melbourne for again?
I've been in Melbourne for 16 years, altogether 17 years. Just 1 year I came to Sydney. I was appointed here in Sydney for 1 year in 2006, and then in 2007 I went back. My former bishop sent me back to Melbourne, and I've been there since 2007. Of course, 2003 I arrived at Melbourne, 2006, 2007 here in Sydney, back 2007 in Melbourne, and spent all the time in Melbourne, coming back last year when my bishop asked me to come here to help the clergy in Sydney.
Fantastic. So how's Sydney treating you?
Sydney, beautiful, wonderful people, very busy people. Especially if I'll speak about Mandruit people. They're very welcoming, they're very embracing, and they're expecting from the priest miracles.
Really? Have you performed any miracles yet?
No, not from what I've known, because the miracle will happen when everyone will be one, when everyone will come together shoulder to shoulder and do things. There is no age of heroes anymore, single heroes. There's no single heroes anymore. We have to be all together to be all heroes. And of course, because they regard the priest highly, this is the reason that they expect from him everything. But of course, we strive here to be up to their expectations. And they're very nice people, very into the church, especially in Mandruit area. And I love working with them. And of course, in general, here in Sydney, all the people, they share the same quality of treating priests. Yeah.
Well, I'll ask you the classic question, that it's an Iraqi question. You know what I'm going to ask? Which one is better, Melbourne or Sydney?
Brisbane.
Brisbane, hey! I'm not there anymore. But...
Now, yeah, each city has its significance. Melbourne more of relaxing, more quiet city. Here, the busy life here will make people really, they can't connect to each other. Once the community can't come to each other, people in the community can't come to each other, then they will be, of course, this will affect the church. Now, people here, they very nice, and recently we have a great sign that the young people, the youth, they're coming to the church. And for the last 7 months, the church has been very active by these young people. It's amazing. I admire them. What people of Sydney needs to do, especially Chaldean community, they need to organize their time. If they will organize their time, they will be they have enough time for their work, for their family, which is highly important, and the church. And they have to consider the church as the second home. Unless they consider church second home, they can't feel or sense the importance of the church. Church is not Christmas, Easter. It's not when somebody will pass away and I will go and do my bit there, or I will stand with him in his difficult time, or the wedding, or no. It's not something to just to get the service and go home. I have to consider it second home. And this is all comes when I organize my time. So Melbourne, they more into the church. They attached to the church. This is, of course, I'm speaking, in general, not specific cases. but amazing. Each city it has its significant, and I'm so happy to work in Melbourne, and more happy to work in Sydney as well.
Yeah, nice. So that's the challenge for the Sydney people, because they're a lot busier. They have to manage their time much better.
That's right. That's the truth. That's
I spoke to one of our recent guests, Mr. Karim Ordish. He said something really nice. He said the church is like our mother. You know, wherever we go, we go with our mother. I thought that was beautiful.
That's the real sense of the church, because once we get baptized, the baptismal font, it's rounded. This and liturgically speaking, in Chaldean liturgy, it's like the womb of the mother. So we will born again through this womb of the mother, and the church will become my mother. I'm not Catholic just in the air, just in lofty ideas or in whatever. I'm Catholic, Chaldean Catholic, inside the church. I'm member of this church. I'm member of Jesus' body, as St. Paul's like to phrase it.
That's awesome. So why did you become a priest in the first place?
That's always the question. Simply to serve.
Yeah.
I like to serve, and I like to teach.
Yeah,
very simple.
And you mentioned that there's a lot more youth coming to Sydney. Is that because of your reputation? You have a great reputation with the youth.
No, not at all. Just I came recently to Sydney because of what Bishop Emil is doing actually for the last 5 years. Father Paul, Father Rodi, Father Hadil. Before that, Father Matthew came from United States, from Detroit. He had his fingerprint still significant here. Father Dinka, Father Oraha, all the priests. I'm here recently to help and to give a push. That's all.
I'm sure you'll do great things, and maybe even miracles.
Oh, well, that's not in my mind at all.
So Australia, you were here in 2003. So when were you ordained as a priest?
I ordained in 1992.
92, okay.
Yeah, 1992. Of course, I've graduated from the seminary, Baghdad seminary back then, and then enlisted in the army for 1.5 years, for 18 months. After I was released, then I started real pastoral work in Baghdad for 8 years. In 2000, I've been appointed by the former patriarch in Holland for 3 years. The Dutch language was so difficult for me. I'm not a lingo oriented at all, so I find it so hard. At that time, Father Zuhair was here in Zuhair Toma was here in Sydney, so he asked me to join the clergy, and since then I'm here, and I'm surviving.
Well, I didn't know that you spent 3 years in Holland.
Yeah, I was in Holland. Don't ask me. All my Dutch is gone, and the language is not easy to learn. And the pastoral work there was a bit challenging for me. Yeah. So I came here. Yeah, it was good opportunity.
Is there a big community there of Chaldeans? Or?
It became big now. Back then in 2000 wasn't big, but they were scattered over the country, and this was one of the hardest part to catch up every single center there. And the priest now is doing really great with the community, but the community is now it's become bigger, probably fourfold back then.
All right. And you were in Baghdad as a priest in an interesting time, because that was after the Gulf War and before they took Saddam out. So could you tell us a little bit about your time as a priest there? What was that like in Baghdad?
Of course, this is an experience of every priest at that time. The challenging of the constitution, of course. Back then, the secular, let's say, implementation of the constitution in Iraq was a bit obvious. Still, we had a lot of pressures from the fanatic people inside the society who was pressing the government. They were a bit balanced in these issues, but they had a lot of major problems, in pressing the minorities at that time. Of course, and you have to like you have pastoral duty to go to the people, to the government people, to have an official relationship to protect and to try to maintain the rights of Christians, of course, in very small level as a parish, and the patriarch and the bishops, of course, in a bigger scale of all community.
Yeah. Is there anything you miss about life there?
From what we sensed and from what we've seen, war after war after war, yeah, I still miss some part of the life, but unfortunately, there's too many things I'd like rather to be much more improved back then, but the country's went from worse to worse.
Yeah. Well, we're always praying for that to turn around.
I hope so, and we're praying for all the clergy there, from all the bishops there, for all Christian community there, because they have enormous challenges, especially after 2003.
Yeah, absolutely. So growing up, I mean, I suppose one of the biggest influences, or if not the biggest influence in most people, especially your life, is Jesus Christ. But aside from Jesus, like, who's been the best example for you, or the biggest influence you've had in your life?
Of course, spiritually speaking, we have Saint Ephraim. Saint Ephraim, it's the patron saint of Chaldean Church. Saint Maximilian Kolbe, he's the hero of one of the consecration camp during the Second World War.
Yes.
And Mother Teresa, whom I have a photo with her in 1989. Yeah, I was in seminary. Actually, I was 1990. Actually, after the Second World War, after the Second Gulf War, Gulf War. Sorry, she came to Iraq, and we had like a photo with her. And I was lucky and blessed because my rector at that time asked me with Bishop Bashar Warda to paint their new orphanage house. So they had, the church purchased a house for them, and I've been asked with Bishop Bashar to go and to paint and to renovate and paint the house. So it was a big opportunity for me, and I was a permanent deacon at that time, preparing myself to be a priest. It was I'm mistaken. It was in 1991.
91. Okay, so just after the Gulf War.
Yeah, after the Gulf War. Wow. Second Gulf War.
I have to see this. I have to see this photo. You still have it?
I still have it. Yeah, I have it. Even Sayyid Amil, he got one because each class we had a photo with Saint Mother Teresa.
Did you spend some time with her, or just?
I recalled. I told her we were gathered around. We just hanging out with her, and I said to her, "Pray for me. I'm going to be a priest." She said, "No, you pray for me." And I was amazed. She just said, I will come, a wicked servant like me to pray for her. Jesus name. I paused, and I ran out of words at that time.
Wow, that's amazing. And I've met you in person, Father Maher. I know I'm about 6'1", 100, and you're, I think, similar height, maybe taller. How tall?
No, I'm shrinking now.
Oh, you're shrinking?
I'm shrinking. I'm aging, so I'm shrinking now.
I guess I'm taller.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No, the reason I ask that is Mother Teresa. How big?
Oh, absolutely. She was a little lady. I mean, her height was short, but she was a giant of faith.
That's what I've heard. She's such a small lady, but she had such power and such impact.
That's true.
Well, that's fantastic. So, fast forward, I suppose, to when you came to Australia, and speaking to my father and other people who have had time with you, everyone talks about you've done some great work with the youth, and so I suppose I wanted to ask you, why in particular do you do you enjoy working with the youth?
Youth, our youth here, this is generally speaking, they have a vision and they have an imagination, and they give life whatever they present. I recall a saying from Albert Einstein. He says, logic will get you from A to B, and imagination will take you everywhere. Yes. So we need people with vision. We need people who can see and read the time. And our youth, they are really great in this area. Of course, there's other youth. They're wasting their time. We will come to this point later. But I myself, I enjoy working with them because I learn from them, and they know how to read or to adapt in this society in a responsible way. We have a lot of youth, they studying and they doing degrees, and they really they doing great. Unless we get to the level where we can get right degree here, we can't serve properly. So this is the reason I like work with youth, and they inspire me actually.
I agree. I mean, personally, I used to do some work for a church in Brisbane for disadvantaged youth, you know, so these were youth that had, you know, come from homelessness, foster homes and whatnot. And what I found was exactly like you, they inspired me, because these were kids that had imagination, they had big dreams, aspirations, and they just wanted someone to tell them that that is possible, you know. And then when I worked with adults, you know, it was like that imagination was, they were just almost content with having a job and just doing that and all that stuff, and then looking forward to the weekend, mowing the lawn, doing all this sort of stuff. So for me, it was very interesting to work with kids between, I think it was 13 to 18, and then working with adults from 25 older. That imagination, that vision that you're talking about was almost, not in everybody, but most of them in the adults was gone.
Yeah, this is the disease of our culture, where we reach 50 and we'll say, pishli sawa, I'm aging, I'm old, I can't do this, I can't do further study, I can't read, like explore or widen my knowledge in this area, and they just sit idle, which is this is what we don't want in the community and in our wonderful Chaldean community.
It's not in our nature as human beings to just stop learning. Like we are supposed to continually to grow. That's what our brains, even scientifically, are made for. So yeah, I agree with you.
That's right. I can't agree more. Yeah.
I want to talk about. I'm a fairly recent father. You know, I have a 3-year-old boy, and I think the fact that you've worked with a lot of youth, you probably found that there was maybe some gaps with how kids are parented these days. What qualities or principles do you think young parents of today really need to instill in their kids? Because the world's changed a lot.
Now, in your case, you are second generation immigrants coming to Australia. So your dad and mom and myself, we are the first generation immigrants coming to Australia. This is different. For us, it's different. For you, it's different, because the way that you're going to raise your wonderful baby, wonderful boy, will be different than the way you've been raised up. And I know from your family and yourself, I know your family, they are they have a significant high education in their life. They work hard. When we tackle this issue, of course, we have to see the wide range of the first generation who came with all these burdens, complications, and oppressions back in Iraq and the neighboring country when they immigrated till they come and settled here completely. So we have the parents here, when they come to Australia and they try to implement the same theory back home here, and this doesn't work. We have, as a first generation, I'm talking about myself, we have to look at the new method of upbringing here.
So let go of the old.
Not completely, not all of them, because we do have some treasure there, and we have to keep it, and we have to get rid of the complications and things that they hurt our personality back then, like because of the situation of oppression and abuse that we experienced back in Iraq, and the trauma of wars. And this is of course it's huge impact on a human soul. Now the parents, they should look at the new method, because our kids, our siblings, they are not ours in per se, because they spend all the time in school. Now they come home, they ask their mom, I'm hungry. Then he eats. After that, he will stick to his laptop or to his computer or to social media, wherever. And coming down around 6-7 o'clock, Mom, I'm hungry, and they eat and they go back to their. So and in the morning they ask their mom to take them to the school. So they are the parents here. They are sort of drivers, and they are just cookers for their kids, but they are not parents in actual sense. And this is what the parents, they need to do. They need to ask their kids to come and sit with them. Unless we have enough communication with our kids, the gap will start widening. And the parents, they have to have a new insight of the upbringing here. We can't treat them as my dad and mom, or probably other people that's a mom treating us back then, when they are free control on us, when they are overprotective over us because of the harsh society back then.
Of course,
we have to give them some responsibility. They have to depend a bit on themselves, but keep an eye on them and take care of them and give them love. And this is the hard part of it, because our parents usually they work hard to maintain and to sort of secure the financial part of their kids' life, because this is the idea: big house, separate rooms, each one has his room and feel comfortable, nice car, nice food and outfit and everything, brand fit outfit, of course, and then by the parents, by providing all these kind of materials to their kids, they feel they love them the most. But here doesn't work like this. Here it's different story at all. So we have, as a parents, I myself, I feel I'm an educator. I have to look at the new method of the new society, how to deal with our kids, our young people within this society, not outside this realm.
It's a great point that you made also earlier about communicating with the kids more, not just being like a chef or a facilitator, a taxi driver, all these things. Maybe just encouraging these kids of today to switch off all the devices, the televisions, the iPads, all that stuff, and just sit down and even have a meal at the table with no distractions. When
this is experience of all the clergy here, when we visit people, the household member, they usually come, hello Abuna, and they respect it highly. I can tell if the kids and if the siblings are with us, then I feel strongly that they have a great communication with their parents.
You can feel it
straight away, because the kids will love every single aspect of their parents' life, and they love their communication and network. Now, when I go and hi Abuna, and he went to his laptop, and just I sit with the father and mother, and I feel that the connection it's been cut here.
There's a gap,
and there's a gap between the parents and the kids.
That's a really good point. So, and I'm taking notes for myself. For future.
Well, absolutely. We need to learn. In your case, you are the second generation here, and I'm sure you will be looking at your baby, your son in different way.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I have had many discussions about this, about how to, I mean, we can't completely take, for example, our son or our future kids out of the equation of technology, because it's always going to be there when they're at school. But more than ever, we have to we just have to slow things down when we're together as a family, and just
Right.
work on appreciating the simple things about enjoying a meal together, spending time together, going out in nature together, to the beach, the park, and making this a regular occurrence, rather than, it's so easy just to go straight to a TV, to an iPad, or to something like that, and we don't have to think about being parenting, but you have to make the effort.
That's the right way to go.
So what do you, I mean, spending time with the youth, what are you telling the youth today? What are you giving them advice on? Where should their attention be on, and what do they need to watch out for?
There's a lot of pressing things on youth. They have the crisis of identity, this is in every age and every society. Especially with them, they have double crisis of identity, whether they are Chaldean Aussies, or they are Aussies, or they're just Chaldean, or and of course the impression that they get from their parents, the impression that they get from the society, their bad friends, or the schooling itself. So they have this. They missed where I am standing here. Am I? And we need to be Chaldean Aussies, because in Chaldean culture we have a wonderful thing to take a board, and with the Australian society we have great things to look at this advanced society, and we need to balance them up. And I think we lost the track here, especially with the young people, because they feel when their parents sometime will press them or will direct them, sort of, they feel that their freedom is violated, or their freedom is gone now.
Okay.
And they consider a free life, or to be free, it's to do everything they want, and this is not a responsible freedom. The freedom, it's when you are responsible of your safety and safety of others, and your happiness and happiness of others, and your success and success of others. And all the time, the young people here, they compare themselves. Unfortunately, sometimes, I hope these cases are very low scale. Sometimes they compare themselves with the unfortunate Aussie here. You can't do this. You have to compare yourself with the successful Australian here, people who were before us 200 years and who built this civilization. We have to compare.
You mean, like, sorry, examples like kids saying, well, at least I'm not like John, who is on drugs or something like that. They're comparing themselves to bad examples.
That's right.
And they're saying that I'm okay.
Yeah, they say I'm okay. So they left study, they drop whatever it is. They go working cash money, easy money sometime, and sometime when the things escalated, they go further, which is we don't want them to go that way at all, and it's heartbreaking for every parent and the priest and the community when we hear that this guy, he fall in a big trouble. So this is the reason, if you want to be successful, really you have to compare yourself with the people who are high level. You have role model here, and you have to consider them. And this is the right comparison. Not envy them, but strive to work hard and to reach, and you will reach beyond that point as well if you are determined to do so.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think I don't take for granted, and my parents instilled this with me, is coming to a country like Australia. I was about 7 years old, and as I grew up here, you get to really appreciate the freedom that we have here.
That's
right. And the freedom
right.
the freedom to really, and like what you talked about with kids who have imagination and a vision, the freedom to actually be able to make those visions a reality. There's not many countries, especially like Iraq, where you have the freedom to do that. So in my opinion, I always tell people I've been put on this earth to be all that I can be.
No, that's right.
And there's many examples of people, Chaldean culture, just ethnics in Australia in general, who've done phenomenal things. They've changed their communities. They've even changed their state and countries and so forth. And you only have to look at people like Mother Teresa to see what's possible.
That's right, absolutely. And Mother Teresa, she says, don't wait for the leaders to act. Act person to person. So we have a duty, everyone can make the changes here. And really, we are significant, culturally speaking, historical speaking, mentally speaking, and we can do marvelous things, especially with the young people who have an access, great access for the language, great access for the education, and great access for everything possible, comparing to other unfortunate countries. The problem is sometimes they don't consider to solve their problems, and they stay there. Like as one of these big philosophers said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking that we created them. Correct. So we have to look at different way of doing things as a young, and the opportunities, sky is the limit of the opportunities that we have here in Australia, especially addressing the young people.
Very good. So what would you say the pressing matters are in Australian society then?
The secular society of Australia, it's in theory, it's great. And we love to live in a balanced secular society who is not hostile to the faith or religion.
Yes.
We of course, we witnessed the euthanasia. We witnessed a lot of legislations which is against the human nature. We witnessed a lot of things, and our youth, our young people, they sort of guided unwisely by the media.
Yes.
The media is pressing, and we can see the media where the media wants those people to go, and they directed them there. And the critical thinking of our youth start shrinking, start retreating. When we watch the media, we have to have the critical thinking of the news there. We respect media. The media, sometimes they do a great job, and I must admit, but not all the cases, not in every cases.
No.
So we have to know that this secular society, we have to give the taste. We are Christian, Catholic, and Jesus says, you are the salt of the world. But we have to give the taste to this world, to this environment, by good example, by our works, by actions, and St. Francis of Assisi say, if necessary, by words.
Yes.
If necessary. So young people, they have to be really aware and vigilant of what's being thrown in the media there. So sometimes we just follow the media, follow the stream without thinking, without knowing, and then we will jump into the conclusion. So there's no need for churches, no need for religion, no need for faith, and no need, and because we have insurance. Man, what do you need God for? We have insurance. Okay, now it's coronavirus. Where's the insurance?
Exactly.
We'll come to this point later. That's fine.
It's such a good point. I can't, maybe I should say in Arabic, but my late grandfather, my father's father, was a great man. He said once that even, it only makes sense in Arabic, but he said, I'll try to translate it. He said, even if a bird comes from the sky and lands on the television, that bird is corrupt. So for people who don't understand, it means that anything to do with the media, the television, you just cannot trust it. I gave examples to people when I used to work in different businesses, and I'd say, you can't trust the media, and I'll give you Iraq as an example. Every time you watch, and we saw this growing up in Australia, every time you see Iraq on TV, they show the poorest places, they show donkeys, they show camels, they show a woman with just the outfits on. And even my father, I remember when I used to be at home, and he used to say, "Where is this place? I don't even know where this place is in Iraq. What are they showing?" And that's all they showed of Iraq. So people's perception, which becomes their reality, is that's what Iraq is like.
Right.
So that's just one example of how the media have always got an agenda. It's never. And I love the fact that you said that you're encouraging kids to look beyond what you hear, look beyond what you see, and do your own research. Yeah, because you can't trust it.
That's right. I watch the media. I watch Channel 7, Channel 10, whatever IBC, but always I see the Catholic channels, the Catholic websites, the Catholic information there. This is especially where the faith is laid there. So we have to be really careful when we watch media, and we have all these examples as you mentioned, one of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, my wife and I sometimes joke about it, because if you watch American channels, for example, Fox, and then you watch CNN, and then you might watch like Al Jazeera, for example, these three medias, it's like you're watching three different worlds.
That's right.
Completely, you can't even recognize them. And that just gives you an idea what the media is like. So what did you want to say about Corona?
About Corona. Yeah, I think coronavirus brings the sense together, bring us together, and bring us back to our senses, where we will pause, because when we run, we can't think, but when you pause, you will say, there's different things I have to consider. Okay. So young people, the coronavirus and the curfew and the isolated at home will make us more meditative people. We will start thinking, we will start pausing, start, it's life not about just running business, money, whatever it is, but there is something deep and beyond. So we have to come to the faith and church, because church and faith will take us beyond what we see. Yes. So I think coronavirus, of course, is very evil, very bad, because there's people dying, but there's a tiny lesson that we can learn from this virus. Fear of God, as you mentioned, it's one of these sort of virtues, but not negatively speaking. We reverend God, we highly reverend and give great deal of devotion to our Creator and our Savior and our Redeemer. Fear of God in right way, yes, not in negative way. We should fear God, in this sense.
So you see, I think you've seen a lot of good that the Corona has done in terms of to society, even though it's done a lot of damage, which I recognize as well. But you see that people have been forced to slow down and look at things that are most important. Is that fair enough to say?
That's right. This is the reason now for the last 7 months I've witnessing there's a lot of young people coming to the church and coming to the youth group, more and more, and I'm praying that they will continue even after the virus will be done with, and we'll finish hopefully soon. I'm praying soonly. But I hope that the young people keep coming to the church.
That's fantastic. For you personally, what pastoral challenges have you had as a priest?
Pastoral challenges. All the clergy, of course, they have pastoral challenges. When people, we expect from people to be attached to their church, to attach to their identity, to not lose the track. And this is a pastoral challenge for us. How to deliver the good news in a new way, a new method, a new sense. This is another challenge for me and for my brother and clergy here. And the Bishop Emil, he strive to put, all these new methods without losing the track with our tradition, with our liturgy, and because our liturgy, it's a treasure, and this treasure should be unfolded, and all the people, they have to know, where are they standing, and we have to have this consideration of the past so we can go for the future. No one can head the future without the past or without the present. Usually we hear that young people, they are the future of the church. You are, guys, the future of the church. I disagree.
Disagree?
I disagree.
Why?
Young people, you are the present of the church, and then the future of the church.
Thank you. Yeah.
And please consider, all those martyrs, the Chaldean martyrs throughout the history, the Chaldean, Father Ragid and the deacons, Bishop Faraj Raho, and the martyrs in the First World War, and the martyrs throughout the Chaldean history. Look at them. Don't hang on your walls just Elvis Presley and I don't know, Selena, yeah, and all these guys. Yeah, that's fine, they are singers, there's a time of entertainment, and Celine Dion and all this. We respect them, of course. They're doing art, but hang on your heart those martyrs, and then live the present and look at the future.
That's fantastic. So they can really do some research and see who the martyrs were and what they've done for our culture.
That's right. Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, that's brilliant. What do you feel like your purpose is now?
Just to continue serving. I want to serve. I like my people. I love my church. I love my church.
Really?
I'm praying that God, the Lord, just give me the enough strength to continue serving my people and my church.
And what message do you have for people who are not the youth? People my age, older, approaching 50, people now in their 50s, 60s, and all that stuff. What can they do to help our church, or for themselves?
The second generation, you mean the people in 50s and 60s, you mean?
Yeah.
All right, so like my age and beyond. Well, of course, their influence on the household, which is their parents, they should consider all these new methods. They have to have one key point when they're dealing with their kids. They have to be good example for their kids, a role model for their kids. Our kids, the young people, they won't listen to the parents unless the parents give them the good example in their life. And we need, as a parents, not to be selfish. I've noticed one incident or one phenomenon actually, whereas the parents, they enjoy the Chaldean Mass, they enjoy Surah, yes, and they enjoy Arabic if they are coming from Mosul or these parts where they don't speak Surah from the first place.
Yeah,
I myself, I adore my language, and I devote my language actually to the point. Of course, after the Lord. But I can't be selfish taking my kids to the just Surah because I enjoy it. But what about my kids? Okay, try to balance it up. Bring them to the Chaldean to the Chaldean English Mass. Bring them to English Mass that we're doing. This is where you show your real parenthood. Yes. This is, they will feel you are sacrificing. I know you want to enjoy. You enjoy your Surah Mass. Bring them to the English Mass because you are there for them. Of course, from time to time, come to the Chaldean Mass, no problem. And if it's your kids, they know Surah, that's great. This is bonus.
Yeah. I heard, I know there's parents that say to their kids, don't do as I do, do as I say, which never works. And And I heard a great.
Unfortunately,
Oh, sorry. Go on.
yeah. So, sorry, you continue, please.
No, well, I was just going to add to that. I heard a great man say, "Kids never do what you tell them to do; they only do what they see you do."
Yeah,
So,
that's very true.
yeah.
My little things, probably this advice for myself or for everyone. We, as a human being, we don't have time. We don't have enough time in our lives to experience everything and fall and experience the failure of it and learn from this failure and learn from these mistakes. We don't have enough time. We have to listen to the right advice. We don't have to learn by hard way. There is an easy way to learn. Because if I make every mistake and I would try to learn from this mistake, then my life won't be enough to live. So I have to live my life, and by the guidance of others, whether it's the bishop, the priest, your parents, and the church, the right friends, This is the problem. Right friends. We have a problem with this. Actually, we have a crisis with the friends. Some young people, they consider their friends, they are the one to look up to, and the one who they have to dedicate their lives to, not their family.
Yeah.
Family matters. There is no bond stronger like the bond of blood. They have to know that.
That's beautiful. We've got to wrap it up soon. I just wanted to ask you a couple more things, though. Is there, from your perspective, is there anything as people, or doesn't matter if you're young or old, is it, because the world for me, I mean, I'm in my 40s now, and it's changed a lot. I've seen in the last 10, 20 years, and it's very different. It's a lot faster, and there's a lot more information. There's a lot more distraction. In your opinion, what is it that we as people need to watch out for more than anything these days?
Of course, this is very, very, very hard question to answer. I think we have to enjoy every minute of our life. We have to use every minute of our lives in very useful way. We have to consider all the deep aspects in our life. We have to enjoy it, actually, and we have to work hard, looking at the profound matters, not just taking things by granted or depend on, as we've mentioned, on media or whatever those people they're saying. We need to be really more careful on judging, more careful on jumping to a conclusion. We need to look at the things in very steady, slow way. When you cook something nice, you have to go with the slow cooking will come up nice and tasty. We can't just waste our life. Life is so fast here, fast here. We have to count every minute on our life, and we have to count it rightly and to do the right thing and to be really constructive.
Yeah, it's very good advice. I think even Sayyidina Emil Nona, he said something similar. He said we are as human beings, we're just trying to control everything, and we're always worrying about what to do. Even when we're praying, we're trying to control the prayer instead of just slowing down and listening and enjoying the time with God. Yeah,
that's right.
Very good advice. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I have one last question, which I like to ask all our guests that are on our show. If you could not rewind back time, if you could get into a time machine and go visit your 18-year-old self, so 18-year-old Father Maher Gurges, what advice would you have for that young man?
That's a very hard question. When you talk about yourself, it's very hard. It's very easy to talk about other people, exactly. But when you talk about yourself, it's the hardest. probably I'll say to Father Maher, and back with this your wonderful machine. Time I would fix my hair. Don't waste your time. Make every minute count.
Good.
Consider deep things and profound concepts and matters. Give, as Mother Teresa says, by giving, we will put much more love than receiving.
Good.
Yeah, like pretty much this is the advice that I will advise Father Maher back in 80 years old.
All right, well, before we let you go, any last thoughts, anything you'd like to share with people? First
of all, I'm very lucky to work in Sydney with those wonderful young people. I'm so proud of the people and young people, especially who I worked with them in Melbourne. They were wonderful, and they're doing wonderful things with the priest there. And I wish them all the best, especially in this harsh time of pandemic. I love all young people. I ask them seriously to pray for me, to pray for their clergy. We are part of them. They are the present and the future of the church, and I ask them to come and test their heritage, their history, their liturgy, and then they can build a very solid identity.
Beautifully said. Well, on that note, we'll leave it there. Father Maher, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
God bless you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.